You are powerful beyond measure. Do you actually know that? Do you truly know and feel that you are this powerful being, powerful beyond measure? And yet, your perfectionism has it locked up, right? Or maybe you've let some of it out and part of it still feels like there's more. I know I got to that stage in my life where I felt like, is this it? I was successful, had money, had a house, had cars, went on vacations, and was like, there has to be more. Is that you, where you feel that way? Well, as a high-achieving woman, we're going to help you with overcoming that overthinking and how do you get out of that head and into your heart, because getting into your heart is the doorway to your soul, and your soul has all the answers. Now, we're going to be doing, in my sacred art space here, we're going to be sharing with you some different things that the spirit guides shared with me. In meditation, they came to me and they said, we want you to start sharing about perfectionism, about overcoming it, why overcoming it is actually going to help you in your growth, in your spiritual expansion, in your growth, in if you have a business or your professional growth, in your personal growth, that overcoming your perfectionism is going to help you in that. It's going to set you free, is what one of them said, one of my guides said. So we're going to get that higher guidance of our spirit guides. That's why we're here in my art studio creating a spirit guide or some creative act, because what we've been doing lately is my spirit guides guiding me to get this little wheel, and we're going to spin it here in a minute and get what creative act we're going to work on, okay? Now, you might be new to spirit guides or you already work with one, but everyone has a spirit guide. Most people have more than one. Some of them you have your entire life, and some that you have that drop in just to help you with what's going on. And we're going to be here to so graciously invite in the spirit guide or guides that is here to help you with overcoming your perfectionism and growing spiritually and getting out of that overthinking mind. Because the overthinking mind actually prevents your spiritual gifts from coming forth, prevents you from growing to the ultimate level that you're here to grow to what you're supposed to be, do, and have. And so we're going to start that journey today. So my spirit guide came to me and said, I want you to share why overcoming perfectionism is key to your next stage of growth, because there's always a next stage, they were telling me. What practices you need to do to overcome your perfectionism, okay? Because it's not going to just go away with a snap. There's going to be some practices, some things that you're going to do differently that are going to help you overcome it. Also, they're going to give you intuitive downloads if you stay on till later in the show, where you can ask a question as we're creating whatever they guide us to create. And most importantly, we're going to be helping you get out of your head and into your heart. Okay, because that's what's going to lead you to your happiness and fulfillment. So, hi, I'm Deepa, and I call myself the Creative Mystic, and welcome to my Sacred Art Studio. And this is a place where we connect with spirit through the spirit guides, use creativity or your creative power with spirit to grow spiritually, to develop your gifts, to create a higher level of awareness, because the more aware you are, the more awake you become, okay? And have experiences of the divine. And of course, like I said earlier, how do we help you get out of your head and into your heart? Because that is key on getting those intuitive downloads. The more you're thinking, the less intuitive, higher guidance you receive. All right? So we're going to invite in the spirit guides, all right? And if you'd like to introduce yourself. Hey, Christopher, I'd love to see you guys. Introduce yourself, give a shout out where you're from. We're going to ring this bell, though, here in a minute. We're just going to first focus on our breath, and then we're going to invoke in the spirit guides, all right? And we're going to invoke them in not just into my sacred art studio, but also into your sacred space, into your, wherever you are, that space. And not just the physical space, but most importantly, your inner space, because that is the awakening process. The more we can awaken your inner space to the truth of who you are, which is this powerful being, powerful beyond measure, the more you will be in divine flow, the more you will know what's true in your heart, the more you will be able to manifest your heart's desires. All right? So welcome, welcome, welcome. And we're going to ring this bell here in a moment. So let's just take a moment now and focus on your breath. And if you're in a place where you can close your eyes, I recommend closing your eyes, because when you shut your eyes, you shut off a distracting sense that can take you and pull your attention outward. And we want to, at this moment, bring your energy and attention inward. So focus on your breath, doing those deep belly breaths, where the belly rises with the inhalation and falls with the exhalation. And on that next deep belly inhalation, draw on the energy of focus. And on the exhalation, let go of any distractions, any business of the day. Continuing to breathe in and out deeply into the belly in a pace that's comfortable for you. And on that next deep belly inhalation, draw on the energy of divine presence, specifically the divine presence of your spirit guides. And the spirit guides that came and volunteered before I showed up here, they always guide me in what we're going to talk about, what I'm going to share with you from their higher guidance. It was the spirit guides. Archangel Gabriel on the flying horse, which is behind my left shoulder, and on the right side is Holy Mary, Mother of Prayer, and prayer is about your intention and being receptive. And so we're going to invite in those spirit guides and any other spirit guide that wants to come forth and give us guidance, higher guidance of overcoming perfectionism, of awakening ourselves to our true selves, our powerful selves, so we can truly manifest and create a life that we love, that we are here to be, we are here to do, we are here to have. All right? And as I ring this bell, say hello to your spirit guides. Hello, spirit guides. Hello, Archangel Gabriel and the flying horse. Hello to Holy Mary, Mother of Prayer. Hello to our spirit guides who come to bless us, to guide us, to transform us. And with each strike of the bell, feel the resonating sound penetrating every fiber of your being, allowing each vibration to awaken you to your spirit guides, to the spirit guide of Archangel Gabriel, the flying horse, Holy Mary, Mother of Prayer, because each one comes with a blessing to help you overcome your perfectionism, truly let your powerful being self out, to allow your spiritual self, your powerful self, to come forth. And just allow it to resonate in every fiber of your being. And whether you sense something or not, just allow and know your spirit guides are blessing you. And as the ringing of the bell begins to fade into the distance, say thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And saying thank you is because you know you have received it. All right. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you for everybody who's introduced themselves. Thank you, Jason, Christopher. Really appreciate you saying hello. And before we get started with the Spirit Guide message about for today, we're going to invite in, because we just invited them in, ask through this spinning wheel the spirit guides of what creative act we're supposed to do today. And one of the reasons why they wanted me to do this was one, because it gives an element of like how life is, that we don't always know what's coming next, right? We think we do, but we don't really know. And so my spirit guides had guided me. They go, oh, well, we want you to be open to doing not just oil painting, but other forms of creative acts. And through these different creative acts, a spiritual lesson, some aha about life, a spiritual truth of life comes through as we're doing it. So the spirit guides, as I'm creating it, will do that. Now, if you have what we're doing on this, we want you to do it with us, because this isn't just about you being here and watching me in my space. This is about us sharing the energy, because even though we're not in the same physical space, with the opening prayer of the ritual of the bell ringing, we are connecting our spaces together. We are connecting our energies together with this, okay? So we're going to ring this, turn this, and see what they're recommending we do today. And today it is, what is it? Okay, it's finger paint. So that's a messy one, but we're going to do it, okay? We're not going to get it going right this second, but we are going to get it going. We're going to do some finger painting, have some different finger paints, and we're going to do that here in a minute. But right now, what we're going to talk about, because this is what they gave me the download on, is that was about the first thing, which is why overcoming perfectionism is key to your next stage of growth. And what they want you to understand is perfectionism blocks your ability to sense your spiritual gifts. Okay, perfectionism puts you in your mind, in your thoughts, thinking, right? Instead of being receptive and open. See, right? What are you doing when you're trying to get something to be perfect? You're fixated on, I want this certain outcome, they're saying, and no other outcome will do well, right? When you get perfectionist mindset. It's like, I want it to look this way, I want it to be this way, whether it's you're cleaning something, you're making something, you're writing something, you're trying to get this exact perfect little thing that you think exists on the material plane. And one of the things that my spirit guides coming in and saying is that on the physical plane in this world, there is nothing perfect. They want you to get that. There is nothing perfect. There is always a flaw in any physical thing you make. There's always a flaw in everything, like a physical thing that you write. And the reason they're saying that is because you might write a best-selling book, but there might be one person who doesn't like that book, right? Or you do a painting, and you think, okay, I think it looks pretty good, and 5,000 people say, I love it, and one person says, I don't, okay? Or 5 million say, I love it, and one person says, I don't. And so on the physical plane, they want you to understand, if you're having that perfectionism, you are striving for something that doesn't exist on the physical plane. And so that gets you in your subconscious mind rather than open and receptive to receiving the guidance of what your next step is in your journey. Because when we are on the spiritual path, when we are having a desire to grow spiritually, and that spiritual growth might be, like mine started, they wanted me to share with this, I started many years ago. I found Buddhism because I was in a place in my life where I was young and I hadn't grown up in any kind of religious path or anything. And I was always questioning. I was what called agnostic, questioning, is there God? Is there not? I don't know. And then I'd gone to different churches, tried little things when I was younger, and then I got introduced to Buddhism. And that path rang truth with me at that point in my life, because it allowed me to be where I was at that point in the questioning mode. I don't have to answer the question, is there a God or not? Now, since then, I've come to a place where I call myself a Buddhist yogi and know that there's whatever you call that higher power, God, Buddha, Allah, Spirit, the universe, doesn't know the name, but it exists, and I know that now, okay? But back then I didn't. So Buddhism fit me for where I was, and it allowed me to explore and start to grow spiritually. And so, and I was what I called a perfectionist back then, okay? I'm a recovering perfectionist now because I catch myself when I fall into it if I'm tired, and that's one of the things I want you to get. If you have this perfectionism in you right now, that it will get worse as you get more tired, as you get hungry, as you are on the planet longer if you don't heal it. And this is, I did not know they were going to say this. They're talking about that you really want to heal the perfectionism, because this perfectionism comes from something that happened in your life that's keeping you thinking that something is wrong with you. Okay? Something's wrong with you, something's not perfect, that, oh, you have to get better or be better or do something different to be the perfect person that you need to be, okay? So that's why it stops your growth, because you're caught in your subconscious mind. You're caught in the programming of the subconscious mind, of your past things that happened to you, to the emotional wounds that got created, to the things that you just need in your memory to be able to live on the planet, right? If you want to tie your shoes, it's got you caught in the idea that you are this physical being rather than powerful being beyond measure. Okay? So yes, Krista, it's so true. That's why I like to do these different topics they give me. You know, the spirit guides come in and say, oh, we want you to talk about this. And they give me what to talk about. I might have my own ideas, and then like today, I'm like, oh, I never thought about it. Like perfectionism, as you have to heal it, because it's this thing that's happening that's keeping you caught in your subconscious mind. And you want to move from your subconscious mind to your superconscious mind. They wanted me to actually explain that. You have three minds: subconscious, conscious, and superconscious. Most people talk about just subconscious and conscious, but if the path of yoga talks about also superconscious. And the superconscious mind, which everyone has, okay, is the part of you that is always awake and connected to oneness, to a higher power, to the spirit guides, to God, to the universe, whatever word you use for higher power. When you're in your superconscious mind, you know, you have a knowingness that you don't even know why you know, but you know, okay? And when you're in that place, you are not caught in your subconscious programming, okay? And so you can't ever grow fully always being in your subconscious mind, because in your subconscious mind, it wants to keep you safe, secure, and keep everything the same. So anytime you're in your subconscious mind, which is perfectionism, okay, it wants to keep you safe, secure, and everything the same. So it will create stories to keep you safe. It'll create, and when I mean stories, like reasons why you can't move forward, or reasons why you're not good enough, or all the stories that you tell yourself of why you can't move forward on what's true for you, or why it doesn't make sense to move forward. They use the big one they use for a lot of people here in America is, you don't have enough money, right? It's the big one. And instead of like, how can you get the money? It's oh, you don't have it, so it means don't move forward. See, so that subconscious perfectionism will stop you. Now, you might be in a place where you've been able to have some level of success. I had that, okay? I was able to become a successful outside straight commission sales rep back in my 20s, and was able to manifest a house before I was buy the house before I was 30, cars, vacations, things that, you know, like everybody thinks they want. And I'm not saying you don't want them. I wanted them then too, and I still do want those kinds of things, okay? I don't want to be homeless. But when I got to that place, at a certain point where I had all the things I wanted, I was like, is this it? There must be more. Okay? So I was able to let some of my greatness out, right? I talked about at the beginning about letting your greatness out, and that perfectionism kind of keeps it locked in. But because I had that perfectionism running in the background, always trying to make things perfect or better, or, you know, that I would see what was wrong with something rather than what was right with something. Do you do that? Do you see if something's wrong rather than what's right? I'm curious. Anybody who's on, I'd love it if you jump in and share. Do you have that habit? I find most people do. Most people see what's wrong with something, or what's missing, or what they haven't done. Right? You get done with the day, and instead of going, wow, I did this and this and this, you look at all the other things on the list that you didn't do rather than what you did do, okay? That's a sign of perfectionism, all right? So I'm curious if anybody has had that, but all of that keeps you from stepping in to that next level. and to that whatever is missing, that you feel like there's got to be more than just this, okay? Because even if you're in a place of like, woohoo, you know, like when I got my house, I was like, woohoo, and everything was good, and I had money rolling in. After a few years, I was like, boy, is this it? And I started to look at my sales job and go, how can I work less hours? At first, I was like, I make all this money, but I work so many hours, I didn't have any time to like spend it. Well, I had time to spend it, but I didn't have time to really enjoy it, thoroughly enjoy it. Ever been there? Making lots of money, but you work so much that you go, like I have this little sliver of time to go enjoy it. So then what I did, and they wanted me to share this, and I'm not even sure why they wanted me to share this with perfectionism, but they're saying that I got to a point where I was like, okay, well, I'm making a lot of money, but how can I don't have that much time to enjoy it because I work so many hours. So I started looking at how can I, you know, earn more money but work less hours. And I got my hours down to, you know, working 20, 25 hours a week and making six figures. And this was many, many years ago, so that six figures back then was a lot more than it is now. So, but, you know, I was like able to work less and make more, which most people think that's not possible, right? They think if you have to make more, you have to work more, or you have to work harder. You know, that's the big one, work harder. And that, they're saying, all comes from the perfectionist mindset of the idea of the subconscious programming. The idea that the way you get things is by working harder, by becoming more perfect, by becoming better at what you do. And they're not saying you don't want to improve on yourself, but it's not about trying to be different than who you truly are. It is about doing what you love to do at the level that you love doing it. And be willing to put forth energy, but not trying to do it harder. Because harder means more energy to most people. So that's what they wanted me to share with you there. Because of course, thank you for sharing, Christopher. So they really want you to understand that, okay? They want to share with you. Now, we're going to talk about what we're going to overcome, how to overcome it here in a minute, but they want us to get started on the creative act, they're telling me, as we do it, because there's going to be more said as we do it. So I'm going to get out the board. I'm going to put some paper on it because I didn't prepare because I didn't know what we're doing. I walked out of the camera, but I'll be back in a minute. I'm getting a clipboard, a drawing board, a big drawing board, so that I can put some paper on it so we can do some finger painting and see what comes through with the finger painting, because they're telling me that that's what they want me to focus on. I'm going to put this over here. So now, if you haven't, just as I'm setting this up, if you haven't subscribed and you like what you're seeing, please subscribe. It all, helps my channel. If you like what you're seeing here and you know someone that would benefit from, please feel free to share it. The thing about subscribing, if you want to know about my next live, turn on your notifications, because that'll allow you to get notified when I'm doing my next live. And my next live is going to be really different than this live. I got some some download to do different things. So we're going to really connect with the spirit guides next time. So I'm going to get some paper out too. Sorry, I think I want this paper. Do some finger painting, because that's what they said to do. But what they really want me to talk about here, what was that they said? Oh yeah. So they want me to give you some higher guidance on how to overcome your perfectionism. And we're going to tune in here once we get started on the creative act about how to overcome it. Because they said earlier before that they want to give you some practices to overcome it. Because they said, one of the things they said that was really amazing that they said to me, so they really want you to get this, that they want you to know, my spirit guides came in and they said they want you to know that perfectionism is just a habit, and a habit can be changed. because they said they know many people, if you suffer from perfectionism, you might think you're stuck with this and that it's been impossible for you to get rid of it, to stop it, to make a difference. And they want you to know that it's just a habit and you can change it. All right? Because they said it's so important to realize that you're not, nothing that you have, that you do, that you see, that there is an ism or that you get stuck in, is it something that you're stuck with? Okay? And the biggest thing is to understand when anything comes from your subconscious mind, it can be changed because it's programming, right? All your habits that you have are habits that are programmed into your subconscious mind. And if it's programmed into your subconscious mind, you can reprogram that, right? If you've been here before, you know that's what I talk about. Miracles shall follow miracles. Yes. Miracles, I always tell people, you know what a miracle really is? And because I believe in miracles. But miracles are things that you don't understand how it happened, right? It's a thing that you go, I can't believe it. Oh, I don't know. That's not possible. But yet it was because it happened. And so, sorry, I'm getting all my little colored finger paintings. So they want you to know that overcoming perfectionism is just a habit, and a habit can be changed. And I'm going to move this up here. I need a little room since we're doing finger painting. And that you have all these amazing spiritual gifts. This is one of the reasons why they wanted to talk about this. They're saying to me, in fact, Mother Prayer, the intention, she said, prayers are about intentions. Prayers are not about begging prayers. Prayers are about making an intention of what you want to be, do, and have in your life. And perfectionism prevents you from actually being with yourself. See, because you have to get out of the thinking over perfectionist mind and come into what's true in your heart. And when you're thinking, trying to figure something out, figure it out, there's no way you can be in your heart. And so the heart is a doorway to your soul. Your soul knows the answer, okay? Now, why do we have these spirit guides if I'm pointing inward all the time, right? Well, these spirit guides are these beings that come that are outer reflections of what's going on within us. They come because they want to give you higher guidance, because they can see that you're stuck and maybe going around and around, or they see that you're having a challenge being able to move forward. They see your aspiration of what you have, that you have a purpose, that you know you want more. And they're coming to help you with that because they want to speed up the process for you. And when you get caught in your subconscious mind, in the perfectionism, in the overthinking, okay, especially perfectionism, right? If you're a perfectionist, you know, right, you've gotten stuck sometimes spending much more time on something than you intended or that you wanted, and then you go off and you put it off into the world, but you still feel like it's not good enough. That makes it so you're not in complete alignment. And the more aligned your consciousness is, your energy is, and that you don't have cross currents, that's what I mean by alignment, okay? Is that when people talk about I'm misaligned, that you're never misaligned in the sense of like you don't know what's going on with your body and stuff, in the sense of you may not consciously know, but you know, okay, at your spiritual self. But, excuse me, spill a little water. But cross currents make it so I say you're not in alignment, because you have part of you that says, I want to make this perfect. And then you've got your superconscious mind saying, let it flow. Let the process, allow the process to happen. Because spirit knows, your spirit guides know, that you put an intention out there, and then there's this process that happens for it go from the prayer of intention. Some other prayer says you make a prayer of intention, and then there's a process where it comes from the spiritual, energetic plane until it comes to the physical plane. And so they want you to know that you have to allow that process from it to get from the spiritual to the physical. the less cross currents you have, which the more you can get out of your perfectionist mindset, the less cross currents you'll have. It helps you get to the next stage. Is that making sense to people? I see there's some people on live. See if that makes sense. If not, I'll ask them to explain it more clearly. We're going to take out oh, in fact, you know what? I was going to do this differently. We're going to do this here on the easel, okay? I'm going to put some paper up there because I put paper up on my easel because I work on many different projects on this easel. And if I put it up without putting this on there and the paint is wet from the previous, it gets all over my next project. So, oh, Lily, thank you. Yes, that makes sense. Yes, Chris, thank you. It makes sense. Good. Okay, so they're talking about to overcome perfectionism. They're saying that there's something in the finger painting they want you to get. And I'm going to put on this first, and then we're going to start finger painting, and we're going to get more of that spirit guide message from them, because they say that they're going to give us some practices for you to do to get over that. So I'm curious how many people identify, if you're willing to put it up there, as a perfectionist, or maybe even a recovering perfectionist, like I say, because when I'm rested and not hungry, I'm able to not be in that perfectionist energy, and then other times I'm not. So we're going to put this up here and see how this works, doing the finger painting up here. It may be a big bust, but, you know, this is part of the thing. Oh, the spirit guide's coming in and saying, yeah, so, you know, one of the things about when you're taking something, a prayer of intention, to something that you want to manifest in your life. And they're saying this is where perfectionism really blocks you. Like, you have this thing that you want to create in your life, whether it's, I want a promotion, I want to start my own business, I want to become, you know, self-realized, I want to become enlightened, you know, whatever that aspiration is that you have. I want to buy a house, I want a new car, whatever it is. If it's something that you've done before, you probably don't have problems with thinking, okay, this is how I do it, because you've done it before and you know what to do. But if it's something you haven't ever achieved before, and this is what they're saying, if it's something you haven't ever achieved before, that you haven't done it before, we're going to slightly tip this back so it doesn't. They said then that's when the perfectionism can seep in and start to control your mind from allowing your superconscious mind, your heart-centered truth to come through, because you're caught in the thinking part. So we're going to take a minute, and I got to use the green, but I'm going to check in with what they want me to do. Okay, so they're wanting me to, we're gonna, ooh. So they wanted me to put this down because, and they said to go up and down, because they say that there are cycles in life. And when you're a perfectionist, you don't like cycles. You want to have the same amount of energy that you have. You want to have, like, things to work out the way they did the last time. You want it to work out in a way that you know what's going to happen. So it's not just about you want it to be perfect, but you think perfectionism is that you know what's going to happen, that it gives you a sense of security. And that sense of security comes from your subconscious programming, wanting that sense of security, your subconscious mind, right? And they're saying, they're telling me to do this here because it's like the growing grass, they said, that when you see grass, does every blade of grass grow exactly the same way? And the answer is what? No, right? They're telling me that they wanted me to put this on here. Because they're saying that grass, if you go out and you look at the grass in great detail, you lay down on your belly and you look at it, you're going to see that it doesn't grow all in a straight line. It doesn't grow all exactly the same. And they're going to say that they said that there's even going to be different colors of blades of grasses, like it's not going to all look the same. So they're telling me they want me to get some yellow out because sometimes you look at the grass and what do you see? You see yellow coming, into some of the grass, right? So we just put in some more color to bring it in, to add the yellow to the grass, because sometimes there's yellow. So it's not predictable. And they're saying to overcome perfectionism, you have to start to allow yourself to be in the flow. And that's why they wanted me to do this finger painting. Because finger painting is what? You're taking your fingers and you're just kind of rubbing the paint around and you're kind of in the flow, right? There's not like an actual paint stroke. You're like allowing it just to, what are you feeling? Like I'm just rubbing the paint around. Like what feels right? What doesn't feel right? And you're just allowing it. You can't control it all, right? Especially when it's running down the page. They told me to put it up at an angle and allow it to run down the page. So Christopher, let me look at your question here. So you're in a sales job for a while, ready to start earning high level, but have my music and business too. So is your music and your business the same thing, or are they separate things? Like you have a different kind of business that does something totally different than being a salesperson? Curious. Same thing, but separate from sales. Okay, so you don't have 3 things going on, you have 2 things going on. So, but I bet the music is the one that's coming from your heart, right? The thing you love. Or maybe you love the sales too. I'm curious where you are with that, Christopher, because my spirit guides are asking me to ask you. Yeah, your music is your love. Yeah, your heart. Okay. So yeah. So they're asking me, do you get caught in perfectionism with your music or with sales? Or thinking? Because thinking is a form of perfectionism. Like you're trying to figure it out. Ooh, there we go. So they're wanting me to ask you that. So we are going to put up, I don't know if this idea is working great as far as, so one of the spiritual practices that they want you to do to help yourself overcome perfectionism is they're actually saying we had you finger paint because we want the people that are wanting to overcome perfectionism to finger paint, and to finger paint in a way like when they were 5. So that's why they're telling me they want me just to throw the stuff on there, rub it around, because when I was a little kid I used to just rub the paint around. In fact, I didn't care if it was perfect. I just cared that it was fun to move it around. So they're saying now what they want you to do is do a prayer before you do it to help you reveal what you need to do differently to heal the perfectionism? Now they're saying the act of allowing yourself to finger paint, to just put paint on a piece of paper and not care what anybody thinks, what it looks like, but just that, like, what is it that you feel like doing with your hands as you're moving on the paper? So that's what I'm doing now. Is I'm just like, oh, this feels good, to like move it up and down, to move it in circular. I was moving in circular motions for a while. They're wanting you to do that, and it's not about how do I make great art. It's about how do I allow my inner child to come out, because the inner child is not a perfectionist. Now that doesn't mean the inner child's going to rule the roost, but they're saying the inner child is going to allow you to at least get in touch with your heart. And it is so important to overcome the perfectionist mind that you start to let yourself get in touch with what's in your heart. So there's no big, this is a big piece of art, but it's like allow yourself once a week to like do a finger painting, to get some paper and put it up there and go, I'm just going to allow myself to do this. Yes, Christopher, let the inner child play. Yeah, I agree, Christopher, but I don't have another clamp easily with me. I'd have to go dig around in the drawer trying to find a clamp. So I didn't want to like stop. Because see, this is about allowing the flow. It doesn't have to be perfect. But my initial feeling was like yours, Christopher, like maybe I should go get a clamp. But I was like, well, the spirit guides aren't telling me to get the clamp. They're telling me to just let yourself. And think about it, they're saying when you're a kid, you don't worry about it being perfect. And if any kid is worrying about it being perfect when they're young, it's because they've had trauma in their life when they were young, you know, or they've brought something in from a past life which causes it. So so that was fun. So it really is about letting yourself have some fun, because that practice. Now we're going to tune in some more and get more of what they're telling us besides just the finger painting, because they intimated to me earlier that they were going to talk about a few practices that they wanted you to do. So let me take off these dirty gloves, because I wear the gloves because I didn't want to have to go run off and go wash my hands off out of screen again. So besides the finger painting, Mother of Prayers coming through, which is Mother, I don't think you can see her up there. She said she wants you to have the intention when you're doing the finger painting. I think I said earlier about, allowing your inner child to come out, but she's saying also, like, with the intention of, I'm releasing this perfectionism programming. That I'm allowing it to, with every rub of the finger painting, I'm allowing this belief that perfectionism is going to get me what I want, or that perfectionism is going to make me better, or that perfectionism is going to, make me the best. Because she says it's the farthest thing from the truth. She says that your heart is singing to you on what is going to get you to be your best self. And your best self is not your perfect self. It is not making something perfect or doing something perfect. It is about doing what lets your heart sing. That thing where when you feel like, this feels so joyful. Like when I do my oil paintings and I work on spirit guides, I could be exhausted. Maybe I didn't sleep well, and I can go and paint, and all of a sudden I'm like, I feel so much joy, because what am I doing? I'm creating something. I'm connecting with the guides. I'm being like in the energy of like moving my little self aside and letting it flow through of what they want me to do. So even though I'm talking to you and I'm doing this finger painting, I was just doing my best to keep in the, okay, I got this feeling to do circularly, okay? And oh, they're telling me the reason they told me to do this is because they want you to understand that's life, okay? Life is like this spiral. They're saying this spiral that goes up, okay? And in your awakening and overcoming this perfectionism, you have to allow yourself to circle back around. So I was like, oh, they're telling me to do this circle motion. I don't know why. And now Mother Prayer is telling me that she really wants you to get that as you are on the path of awakening, which overcoming this perfectionism, this perfectionist mindset, is part of your awakening process, right? Because it's what's keeping you stuck. So you grow and you start to like make some growth and see you're like, oh, it's not getting you caught so much. And then you go, oh, whoops, something happens and you come back down, but then you come back up again. And some more expansion and growth of letting it go more. And then you come back down, oh, something happens. And so you have to be okay with that it's coming in the spiral. Because that's how we grow on the physical plane. If we think it's going to be a straight line, always up, we're bound to be triggered right back into perfectionism. Triggered right back into what's wrong with me, why am I not getting anywhere? But she wants you to get, it's this spiral going up. In fact, I don't have it here, it's upstairs. She was wanting me to show you this spiral thing I have, but I don't have it here. I'd have to run all the way upstairs and come all the way down, and that would take too long. So she wants you to get that, okay? That's the one thing about when you do things by the guides, I don't always have something that I can show you that would represent it. So they really want you to understand that this practice of allowing yourself to let your inner child out with the intention, okay, that you are releasing this belief that perfectionism is actually serving you. Because if you watch my other two lives, I talked about it. I mentioned in one of them about how, when I was younger, I thought, wow, my perfectionism is serving me. It's making me a better sales rep, or this or that. And then I saw how it was getting me caught because it wasn't allowing me to move forward on the spiritual stuff I wanted to step into it as a business. I was like loving what I was doing by myself, and it kind of felt like I was supposed to do the business, but my perfectionism was like, meh. Like that just wasn't in my programming with it, okay? So one of the things they're telling me, and that's Archangel Gabriel's coming in saying that you have to be in this place, and it's funny, Christopher, you mentioned miracles, and you're talking about miracles. You have to be in a place of believing that a miracle is possible. Only because right now you're caught in the idea of this perfectionism has been serving you and been hurting you, right? Because you see it's keeping you caught so that you're not maybe moving forward on what's true, is that you have to understand that you have to be open to a miracle. And Archangel Gabriel is in the miracle business, right? Archangel Gabriel is what appeared to the Virgin Mary and, basically talked to her about what was going to happen, right? And basically a miracle. So the idea of a miracle is that you don't know how it can happen. Your logical mind will just keep telling you that can't be, that can't be. And so you have to say, okay, no, wait, I believe in miracles. I'm open to a miracle. Because even if it doesn't come in like raising Lazarus from the dead, a miracle is anything you don't know how it's going to happen. And you want to get into that energy of it's here, okay? So get into the energy that your miracle is here to heal this perfectionism, to let it go, and that it's going to happen through this creative act of following, excuse me, what your inner child is telling you to do when you finger paint. Because your inner child knows what your issues are. In fact, most people's inner child, that's where their issues are residing, whatever emotional wound they have, things like that. So when you work with that inner child to say, I'm going to let you do what you want to do and see what comes forth, then you know what to address. Okay? So they're saying, one, have a prayer of intention of releasing this false belief that your perfectionism is actually helping you, because it is really actually blocking your ability to grow to that next level. Okay? To invite in your inner child as you're doing the finger painting. Okay? And as you do that finger painting, invite your inner child to guide you what you're supposed to do with the paint. How you do it, what you do, and you do it with the intention of you're letting go of this perfectionism, which is just a habit. Okay? Then they're saying, when you're doing that after you've done it, now if you can do it more than once a week, they'd love you to do it more than once a week. If you could do the finger painting 2 or 3 times a week, you're going to move things through faster. Remember, I think I said at the beginning, that when you're on the path of awakening, most people wake up a little bit by little bit. And when you're wanting to overcome your perfectionist mindset, it releases a little bit by little bit. But that little bit by little bit can happen quickly or it can happen slowly. And I'm not going to say doing more is the answer. It's how intentional you are. But they're saying that what really makes a difference is some kind of continual practice of something is what makes a difference. So they want me to share with you, like I've done a morning and evening spiritual practice, what I call the sadhana, which is a Sanskrit word, every morning, evening for like 40 years. Because it's the most important thing to me in my spiritual growth. And because of that, I began to have these spiritual gifts awaken. So if like connecting with the spirit guides, giving downloads, being able to do these things, which when I was younger, were not there. I was empathic and I could like find a parking spot, I would know what people were feeling because I'm an empath, but I didn't have, like what's happening now. And so that was in my willingness of being able to go, okay, let me let go of the perfectionism, let me heal what needs to be healed, let me move into my next stage of growth. And so they say you have to make that intention. All right, so let me tune back into the spirit guides and see what else they have to say. So they're saying that they want you to check in with your spirit guide, if you can, on a daily basis. Doesn't have to be anything fancy. Ask your spirit guide, whoever you say, who's my spirit guide that's here for me? If you have one that you already know who they are, ask them to give you guidance. Ask them to open your heart, okay, that you know what's true in your heart. Because you're going to be working on it from the side of changing the programming, okay, of doing this physical act of releasing. And then you're going to be inviting in your spirit guide. So you're kind of doing it on both sides. So instead of trying to muscle through, like most people when they say change the programming, they tell you to do all these affirmations and they tell you to do all these different things. And you can do those things. But they're saying they want you to not do it so seriously because perfectionists tend to do things seriously, right? Got to do it perfect. And they want to that break one habit, which is the serious part. That's why they want you to finger paint. Wow, I did not even know that's why they wanted you to do it. That's amazing to me. So they say that the serious mind, and serious doesn't mean you're not committed, okay, when you take away the seriousness. The seriousness is that you're trying to make it perfect. And the fun part is, let me be in the flow. Let me just throw the paint down. Let me just, and be like that. So like this here, like allowing this paint to drizzle and get on the board. For me, in the past, it would have bothered me because I don't want to make a mess. I was programmed to not make a mess. It's the household I grew up in. And now I'm like, well, I will clean it up later. Like if it drizzles down, we'll clean it up later. So it's about how do you start to change and break those habits that are keeping you caught in this little box, because that's what perfectionism does. It might feel bigger, but it's actually keeping you caught in this little box. So Is that making sense? If there's any questions, they're open. The spirit guides are here, open to any questions about overcoming perfectionism, any challenges that you're having. Feel free to share them and ask a question about it. And I'm going to check in to see if there's anything else. But go ahead and put in any questions that you might have about it, and then I'm going to check in with them. One of the things that they wanted me to, we were talking about the spiritual gifts and the awakening of them. And they want me to kind of reiterate about part of the path of awakening is awakening to your gifts. And those gifts are here to help you with creating that life you love, stepping into your purpose, stepping into the powerful being you are. And a lot of those spiritual gifts you have are things that you already know about, but you just don't use them in the way they're meant to be. And so if you'd like to learn more about that, feel free to go into my website and get the free giveaway on those spiritual gifts revealed. I'm going to go put that up just for you guys so you can, let's see. Here it is. Takes me a while to find these things. So you go to deepaloo.com/free-spiritual gifts-revealed. If you go there, you can go, or go to deepaloo.com. It's on the homepage, if that's easier. You can go get that free gift, okay? And go from there, all right? So let me check in, see if there's any other questions. Please, if you have a question for the spirit guides, go ahead and put it in there about anything about perfectionism or overcoming it. They're actually reminding me right now, while I'm leaving it open to wait to see if there's any questions, of a few practical things that I forgot to say. In 2 weeks, on August 6th, I'm going to be doing a live, a little different than I do. It's going to be at a different time. It's going to be on Thursday, but at 5:30. And it's going to be, your spirit guides are here. And it's going to give you an opportunity to, if you ask in the comments, you have to be live, that you'd like to meet your spirit guide that's here to help you with overcoming a challenge or manifesting a purpose or whatever guidance they have. You can be there live on Thursday, August 6th at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Savings Time. So it's 2 hours later than this one. We start at 3:30 my time here, and we're going to start at 5:30. They told me to do it later. And it's going to be something I've never done on YouTube before. I did it once for somebody, and it worked. Because I do personal spirit guides, but we do it on Zoom, and I get to meet you, and I help you make an intentional statement when someone does a personal spirit guide portal. And then we meditate together, and I see a vision and everything. But this is just tuning into what spirit guide is here to help you and give you a intuitive download of what they're kind of suggesting that you do, okay? So on August 6th, it's not next week, but the week after. So I'd love to see you there. So if you haven't subscribed and you're new here, subscribe, because then you'll get notified about it. Turn on your notifications, okay? And if you can, I always like to do this, give me a thumbs up, because it all helps my channel, okay? It doesn't look like anybody's got any questions. Give it another minute or two if you have any questions or a question you have for your spirit guide. And, questions are about helping you, like, with things that you've been struggling with, things that maybe you haven't been able to come up with a solution because it's a higher guidance. They're going to give you some higher guidance about it on the way to do it. Just checking to make sure there was any practical thing I forgot to tell you about. I think I've told you everything now. Yeah, I told you about the new time. So let me check back in. Anything else saying about overcoming perfectionism? The last one they're saying is they want you to practice this saying, done is better than perfect. Okay, it's something that I heard about it years ago. And when I started to say done is better than perfect, I really was able to move on out of that perfectionist mindset. The other thing they're saying, the practice that they're saying besides that, and they're not saying you have to do all of these they're giving right now. They're saying you get the one they want you to do is the finger painting with the prayer and intention of letting your inner child out. Okay, they want you to definitely do that one. But these other ones they're adding on now are just things that you can do if you're caught in perfectionism, okay, and to help you move out of it. Because that's the first step, is to become very aware that you're in it, okay? So done is better than perfect. So if you see you're caught up in doing something over and over and over and trying to make it perfect, you say done is better than perfect. And also, oh, I don't know. It seems they dropped away for a minute. So I thought that was the main one. So let me see what the question is here. So, better way to function if having constant roadblocks. Can you put that in question form, Christopher, if that's your question? Like how to function better if you're having constant roadblocks? Is that, and why don't you tell me a little bit more about the roadblocks so I can kind of tune in with the spirit guides and ask them about that. So what's the roadblocks you're talking about? They're asking me to ask you that. Because that's a broad question, and so they might give you a really broad answer. So the more specific you are, the more specific the answer you get. Okay, so it's fear. Okay, so you really want to know about the fear. Okay, is fear saying don't do this or this? Okay, so let me tune into the spirit guides. Well, they're saying, first thing they said was, Christopher, the first thing is that you know you're in fear. So that's actually really good. It means you have the awareness to know that you're in it, because a lot of people think that they're making like the logical choice and they can't even admit they're having fear. So they want to give you like a kudos, an applause for knowing that you're actually in the fear, because that's the first step to changing anything, okay? Now they're saying the acknowledgement that you're in the fear, then they want, what you want to do, they're saying, is to connect with spirit. Do a practice, a prayer of intention to release the fear, to breathe deeply in and out, to calm the mind, because when you calm your breath, you calm your mind. So they're saying, when you know you're in fear, take the moment to breathe deeply in the belly, in and out, and saying, I'm releasing this fear, and then say, I am one. I am one with spirit. I am one with my spirit guides. And then as you start to feel the calmness come in, they're saying they want you to ask your spirit guides, what's the guidance that you're giving me to overcome this fear, so I can make a decision from what is true. So they're saying the prayer of intention of, I want to act on what is true, is the key. Because what they want you to understand is the fear is not going to go away necessarily, but when you're solid in what's true, you'll act on it anyway. And they want me to give you the example. If you've been here before, you might already know it, but when I first got to put on my website that I could tune into someone's energy and see their personal spirit guide that's here to help them, I was really afraid. But I have enough, I've been on the spiritual path long enough where I just follow the guidance, so I put it up on my website, okay? But I was afraid. People think that when you get spiritual guidance, higher guidance, that you're not going to be afraid. In the moment when you get it, you feel, this feels true. And as soon as you come out of that connection, that meditation, that oneness energy, you feel like, oh my God, this is scary. Because I was like that. I was like, I don't know if I can do this, okay? So I stuck it on my website like I was guided to, ignored ever telling anybody because I didn't know if I could do it, and then finally realized I needed to come out of the spiritual closet around spirit guides, and so I did. And the moment I did that at a business training, the next day someone sent me an email, said, I see this on your site that you do personal spirit guide portal. I think I want one. Can we meet? And we met on Zoom. And I did it, had a miraculous experience that showed me I could do it. I've shared the story before, so I don't want to keep repeating it over and over, but then I had an experience with doing it for someone, and then I realized, okay, I can do this. But the whole time I was doing that, I had fear. So I moved forward even with it because I trust my guides. I trust higher power. Is that making sense, Christopher? Love to all. Thank you. This helps. I'm glad it helps. So, Christopher, I don't know if you've been here before or not. Have you? If not, please subscribe so that you'll know about my next one. Alrighty, so it doesn't look like there's any other questions, so I'm going to wrap it up. But like I said, August 6th, going to do Your Spirit Guide is here. And we're going to be, for those who want to, I'm going to share with you a little bit about connecting with spirit guides, and also tune in, if you're on live, to your spirit guide and give you a little download of what they have to say. Okay? So thank you for everyone showing up. I always enjoy doing these lives, and it is such a pleasure to get to be able to connect with you and share with you what the spirit guides are guiding me to share. All right? Blessings. Have a miraculous day.